Um, Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Hope you can see me okay, hear me all right. It is Tuesday, the second time we're doing this new format. Tuesday, the 14th of October. If you're on the session, do drop a message and say hi. Let me know that you're here. Let me know that you're on. If you're new to the session, let me know where you're joining us from. And for all the regulars, a big welcome back. So, if you're new to the session, just a quick recap is what we do here is I'll spend 30 minutes. All right. So the topic for this week is gold. Yesterday, we talked about why or how or what's led to gold climbing to that 4,000, 4,100 level so far. Today we'll talk about gold, the technical charts. So before we'll be on this for a short while, and then you start looking at charts. Well, we'll look at gold on the technical charts, and then after that, we'll look at gold on what could cause it to reverse. What's the major reversal patterns coming up? And then on Thursday, we'll talk about possible trade setups, longer term trade setups. And then on Friday, we'll talk about, we'll summarize what we've talked about for the week, and then we'll talk about the topic for next week. So again, if you're on the session, drop a message like everyone else have. Hey, Angel Case, how are you doing? Hey, DP, good to see you. Hello. And Jimmy, welcome back. Good to see you on the session. How's the move? Hope it all went smoothly. And while you're on the session, remember to click that like, that thumbs up button does help, right? Clicking that thumbs up button might get us more people onto the session. Doesn't cost anything, get us more people on the session. And if you have any questions, put into chat and let me know. All right. Any feedback, any comments, let me know. And the next possible suggestion for a topic as well, do put it into the chat and suggest a way. So and then after that we'll do this for 30 minutes, and then ideally after that at about 3 o'clock, unless I run early or run late, at about in 30 minutes we'll switch this to a members only stream, where for the members who have done this for the last many years already, we'll look at H1 charts, we'll look at trade setups, we'll look at possible trade setups, stop loss, take profit levels, and a recap and review of all the news that has happened. We actually just had one 33 minutes ago with the UK employment numbers being released. Okay, still going too much stuff. Yeah, I've been through that. I've been through that too many times to bother about. All right, so let's start good and proper. Um, Welcome again, everyone. Good to see you all on what I call Technical Tuesday. Right. So yesterday, like I was just saying, yesterday I was just hang on. Yeah, jeez. Hang on. Okay. So yesterday, like I was just saying, we spent 30 minutes breaking down the whys and hows and what's behind gold's move towards that 4,100, almost 4,200. It's come back down a little bit, now sitting at 4,112. Mainly, it was because of central banks from all around the world buying gold, causing the demand. We also had the Fed rates increasing likelihood of Fed rate cuts, causing that demand for gold. And then we have all the geopolitical instability, the conflict in Russia, Ukraine, the conflict in Israel and Gaza, between Israel and Gaza, which seems to be all likely be resolved now, but there's still Russia, Ukraine going on, right? So those are all the fundamental forces, the macro Monday. That's what we had yesterday, and I'm losing my voice. Today, what we'll be looking at, right? So today is going to be a little bit different. Today we'll be looking at the charts. the what, looking at the charts. What is it telling us? Where could gold go from here? Right? It's popped up. I was catching it up. It almost got to 4,200. Um, Now again it's back down to 4107. Jimmy's asking will be, oh geez, not asking but saying we'll be moving it next year. That's a lot of packing and unpacking. I would just leave everything packed and then move finally. So like I was saying, where we look into the charts and we think about, more importantly, where the levels, what actually matters. We're heading into so-called uncharted territory at the moment, so it's important to know where your support levels are, where your projection levels could be, right? Because fundamentally, what we looked at yesterday, it tells us that gold could continue pushing to the upside, right? Gold could continue pushing to the upside. It gives you that direction. I like to say, I used to have that tagline where I say fundamentally biased, right? So based on the fundamentals, we look for the direction, and then technically timed. So the technicals on the charts tell you when to get in. Fundamentals tell you where or what, and then technicals tell you where, right? So you need both. As much as anyone can say, I would always suggest using both fundamentals and technicals. So again, the plan is I'm going to look at gold. I'm not going to do the H1 time frame because it's what we do every day. I'll look at gold on the longer time frame, monthly. I don't really like the monthly, but we'll look at the monthly, the weekly, and the daily time frame, showing you possible breakout levels, possible support levels, projection levels, target projection and target levels, and ideally where could this get to, and hopefully where could this reverse from, right? Then again at the 30-minute mark or in 20 minutes, I'll switch over to the members only live stream where we'll get into the actual trade setups, where I'll enter, where I'll place my stops and take profits, and how to manage risk at these levels. Okay, so if you're not a member already, there is a little join button there. Click on that join button. I think it is like $9 or $14. It's per month. It's almost nothing there, right? For a daily live stream. Right, so again, if that's good, do help me out. Click that like and subscribe button if you haven't already, because that would help massively. And let's go. Okay, so I think that should work. All right, there we have. There we have it. That's gold at the moment. All right, it's been. I'll show it to you. I'll show it to you on that's the daily time frame. I'll show it to you on the monthly time frame first. Okay, so since let's go back 25 years ago. This is in the 2000s, right? In the 2000s, this was gold down here at there we go. This was gold right here at a 200, just under 300 level. That's when suddenly I forgot, the British guy sold off a lot of the UK gold reserve during this period, saying, nah, no point holding on to gold. Big, bad, terrible mistake. Right? So gold in the early 2000s or in 2000s was right here at under the 400 level. It's popped up, went up, and I'll show you that. Just a crude, a rough view of this. Right down the bottom, right to the top. Right, the last time it had that big, well, since 2000, it had that big spike. It came right back down to that 50% level, right? It came right down to a 50% retracement level, sat there, and then pushed up again. Then, when it broke above, this is on a monthly time frame, right? Remember that. when it broke above that previous high. So it sat there, got held by that previous high, that range, that area, right there. Okay, so this again was when it broke out of that point in March 2024. Move back one. That's Feb 2024, right? So about 1 year ago, where 1.5 years ago, where gold started its climb. You don't really see it, you don't really feel it until you look at it in the big picture, where it started to push to the upside from that 2000 level, right? Breaking above 2060, and now, I mean, I remember talking about it a lot, whether you get to 3000, whether you get 3500, and now it's at 4100. So that big push up, if you look at it's too early to call this as a turning point yet, but if you look at this kind of turning this fifth level extension, we have the possibility if it does correct back, it could come down to that 3111 level. If you took this whole move here, then that 50% level would be just at about 2,900. We're considering that, right? This big move up, 50% retrace. If you took this bottom, or if you took this whole thing up, then you'd be at 2,600. So we're looking just under 3,000 to that 2,600 level. In this range, you're thinking that gold, I mean, it's not, it hasn't finished the climb yet. I don't think it's finished the climb yet. It's weakening for now, right? I don't think it's weakening totally, but it's weakening for now. So we're looking at it, if it reverses from here, it could be anywhere. It could do that, come right back down into this area. I'll do one more on that as well to show you that range. So this one, we're talking about 50 because it's where it went to the last time round. And then for the nearer term one, let's look at 50 as well, right at that point. Okay, so zooming into that, that's what we're looking at. 3,000. I like the round number, firstly, and that's at 50. Let me see if 38.2 makes sense. No, so that's the 50. So that's kind of what we're thinking of, firstly. Just a very broad view. 2000, early 2000s, it climbed all the way until 2011, right? 11 years of climb. It's retraced. I mean, you could also look at it as from that point on, right? And then it retraced down to that 61.8 level as well, right? So you could also say that it's climbed up to that previous high, right? So in this area, and then it retrace, and then it pushed back up again. Oh wait, so we're looking at that, right? This whole area where it's retraced by, so it's either climbed from 2000, 2011, or it's climbed from 2008 to 2011. It's retraced down to this 1070 level set in this range when it finally broke out above that previous high, and that 8 whole resistance area there, we took the bottom to the top or the bottom to the top here. We're looking at, if it does retrace, this would be somewhat of an area that we're going to be looking out for. Does that make sense? Put it into the chat. Let me know if it makes sense to you guys. That's kind of what we're looking at here on gold on the monthly time frame. Put in the chat. Let me know if it makes sense. Um, then you look at it into the weekly time frame, kind of shows you a little bit more information. I would still keep that same analysis. I think it's all still very relevant. Um, then you also notice here on a weekly time frame that it pops up. It sits there. This level is good. It pops up. There's a little bit of a consolidation here. So you start thinking of that whole point as a bit of a consolidation, right? And then it's popped up further. So far, that highest point here was just shy of 4,200. I might have jinxed it when I was telling everyone on Discord, oh, we're getting to 4,200. It came close and then it's retraced back slightly. Okay, why is it retracing? I'm thinking, firstly, pound dollar is dropping because of the unemployment rate increasing from a 4.7 to a 4.8, causing a bit of a pullback in this scenario. But it feels like it's going to continue higher. Okay, does that make sense? Yeah, put it into the chat. Let me know if it's good, if it makes sense. Okay, then what else are we going to do next? I was going to do something next. Oh, okay. Then I wanted to show you this. At first, I wanted to show you that there is the channel doesn't work, right? There's no real clear channel that gold is trading within, right? That would be the closest. I think that was what I was drawing before. That would be the closest I can get. So it did that, tested this point, did this, and tested this level, which could lead to, if we extend this through, right, which could, now, I continue that, which could lead to a bit of a retrace, maybe back down, and then another push back up that way, right? Markets have been considering that. Have Thank you so much, Jimmy. Really appreciate that. Markets have been, or analysts have been, highlighting. They were talking about 3,500 first, and they were saying, it's impossible. Then when it hit, they said 4,000. 4,000 is impossible to get to. It got to 4,000. When it finally got to 4,000, they said, all right, fine. It might get to 4,900 by the end of the year, right? Maybe it would come back down a little bit that way to that 39, to that 4,000 level or 3,900 level that way, push back up to just under that point, and then maybe that 4,800. That's kind of the channel that I see, right? A very, not a perfect channel. You see, not a very perfect channel, but it kind of gives you a bit of a visual aid. DP says, does using the liquidation heat map as additional confluence make sense in the analysis? You can, but it also comes down to why is it why the liquidation, right? Why people are selling? So I push that more towards the fundamental side. Short term, a bit of a retrace and then a continuation. So I still see that, I still kind of see that push to the upside. And also that, what I was going to say, I was going to say something else. You, in the longer term, like we're looking at the monthly, weekly, and daily time frame, I think the liquidation heat maps would come in a little bit more, or have more impact, or more impact. I'll tell you a better picture, give you a better picture when in a smaller time frame, right? In a smaller time frame. Does that kind of make sense? I mean, no. Because it's more sentiment, right? In the longer term, we're looking at that longer term trend. So that's where we're looking at now. It's broke out of that, and also that move that away. That's what we've seen, right? It's broke out and it come back in. If you took this a little bit more narrow, you would also see that it tried to break out and came back in again. This was in June, so a long time ago, right? To test up, and then now it's sitting there. So I wouldn't even be surprised if this retrace comes back down to 3,900, and then we'll see. Still too early to be trying to sell gold down for now. So that's on the weekly time frame. Then you go down to the daily time frame. Right, the daily time frame gives us a bit more information here. Range is at range. I can actually go a little bit more narrow. Right, I'll still keep that as my big major support. Um, then at this point here, what you would say or what you could be looking for is projection levels. Right, you see that, and then down to here where we've gone right up. Okay, so from this low point here is pushed right up to this peak, came back to the retracement level down here, or even down here. I like this point because of the bottom of the channel, right? And then it's pushed back up. So what has it done? It's gone right up to, well, not right up to, but close to that um, one one level at just under 4,200, right? Just under 4,200. Let me take all of this away first to clean it up a little bit. Where's it? Right, so I got up to one projection, tested, came close, didn't like it, pushing back down. If this retrace comes back in, this is again on the daily time frame, you could be looking at, I know I have a lot of lines right now, so just bear with me. If you're lost or anything, just let me know. Right, it could push back down. 23 is here, 38.2 is here, so it could come back down to that 38.2 level and then push back up. I feel like that could be a big retrace that could tempt a lot of people, but we know, right? The trend is still to the upside. We should be looking for that to follow the trend. I give you an example here is that it's pushed right up. It came back down to that firstly that 38.2. So this point here, the push up, it came right back down to 38.2, bounced, set across, and pushed up. So if you look at a comparable scenario here, it would look like, if I can draw it properly, come back down to 38.2, maybe like that, bounce, sit across, maybe some more, and then push right up that way. That's on the daily time frame. That would be similar to what happened here. All right, so did that 38.2, push back up to about that 23 level, set across, and then push right up. If I took that picture and dragged it right across to show you that example, that's what we're looking at. Right, obviously it's dropped a lot more, and that's the 50. You could still do that, and then push back up. A similar pattern that we could be looking out for here on gold at this point. It almost feels like the right time to be doing this video, this live stream with you guys, because it's forming that pin bar. This today on the daily chart. Oh, no, not that one. Wrong button. Got a bit too excited. today on the daily chart, this candle almost looks like the deciding point. Almost looks like it could be the deciding point of if it breaks back down below a nice round number of 4100, which is down here. It could come back into the channel, could push back down to 38.2. Well, I mean, this is on the daily time frame, so it could take a little bit longer, right? Come back down to this point, bounce, push right up from here. Does that kind of make sense? So in terms of highlighting some support levels, definitely that's a good support level, 38.2 to look out for. This consolidation is definitely a good, I mean, it's a very far away level, right? It's definitely a good support level to look out for. This whole area here, I think, is the almost be all and end all support level. Can you imagine gold coming back right back down to that 2,800 level? Not impossible, but it feels like it's a long way away, right? So those are the levels that I look out for. That previous high, I would say, is a good resistance level, right? So it's good bounce and break, and then I would say that this 50% here is a good resistance, but like all you regular members would know, once it gets into all these uncharted territories, then I will start thinking, once it breaks, if it breaks above 4,200, um, I'll look at 43. I look for all the round numbers, right? I look for 4,300 and that number there. Okay, 4,300. Then you have to mark out because you're trading into a little bit into the unknown, right? It's not going to go in a straight line. Hopefully it does, but it's not easily going to go in a straight line from 4,200 to 4,700 or 4,600. So we're going to map out all the possible levels that it could um, hesitate at. Our support levels on the higher time frame stock? Definitely. Definitely. So the question was, are support levels on the higher time frame stronger than um, those on the lower time frame? I would say most definitely. Right, so I'll put that a little bit higher because I wanted to coincide with that and just under the 4,200 level. Okay, so there you have it. All right, we're 1 minute away. I'm going to switch over, but there you have it. I'm still new to this whole switching thing. Okay, we got a minute before we switch over to our members only live stream. So I'll keep talking until we get to that 1 minute. We've seen how it's gone up by, right, on the daily time frame way back in the 2000s to 2011, where it's popped up and retraced down to 50. Thinking of that same thought and idea, given that it's popped up now, we're looking at a channel, right? This is that 50% and the 61.8% level. That's the ultimate support level. That's why it's in red. This consolidation level is another support level at this point. But if the pin bar here breaks and comes back in, then we're going to see this pull back down to the support level. We could see it pull back down. I wouldn't be ready to sell it down yet. I want to see it maybe sit, bounce, and push back up. I think that the move is still going to continue pushing higher.